For me, critique is not about barring for more numbers from the judges. It's about more or less, if they miss something in your show, you truly think they missed something in your show, then you need to make sure that you're getting that point across to them. Like if you feel like your color guard has more to offer in, say, the movement caption, not just when they are doing body without their equipment, but along with equipment and everything they do inside their show with choreography, then you need to nail that point home to them in a nice professional manner. It's never a good time or a good look for you as a designer to scream at a judge, because you never know, you may see that judge again, and they're human also. And I'm sorry, if I was judging and you came at me, more than likely I'm going to be a little bit bitter the next time I see your program. And it's really odd. I would hope they would never do that, but also you should never come at them like that. That's how I maximize my time in critique, is trying to point out the things my show offer more than my competitors in my class, basically. And also, I don't talk about other competitors. I only talk about what's in my show.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Slaughter. I'm the Vice President of the Florida Federation of Color Art Circuit, and I also kind of fulfill the role of Chief Judge throughout the season. So I do want to give you some tips on these critiques that we have throughout the season that a lot of times are kind of intimidating. We're kind of unsure how to approach the critique and get the most out of it. And we're talking to judges that maybe we don't even know them personally, we've never met them professionally in any way, and they're putting down those numbers and they're giving us feedback in our shows. It's like that dialogue is sometimes awkward. So let's talk about some things that you can do to really make that a little bit more of a positive discussion. First and foremost, the judge is already giving you dialogue on their files. You really need to have listened to that, or had somebody on your staff listen to it before you come in to the critique setting. If you're starting from ground zero where nobody has heard any of the dialogue that the judges had, and you're looking to just, hey, what'd you think? And then there's no knowledge from your standpoint of what the judge said during their show. That creates a situation where you're just kind of getting caught up to what the judge said during your entire 3 minutes. All of a sudden your 3 minutes is up, all the judge has done has told you what was on his or her tape already, and then you're leaving with really no value coming out of the critique itself. You could have just listened to the tape and heard the same information, got the same information from them that you did. So listening to that file allows you to know before you go in where the judge stood on what you did. You know what they read, you know what their feedback was, you know what their impressions were as they sit there in that seat where they kind of have that cold read of what your program is, and their feedback was honest. You got an honest read on what the show was, and to know where the judge was with that honest read before you sit down obviously puts the starting place for your dialogue in a much better place. Also keep in mind the judge may have seen 60 to 65 shows in that same day. So your ability to start and fuel the discussion by talking about what the judge had already said on their file helps them with recollection. It helps the dialogue be a lot more productive, because we're not just sitting there trying to kind of get up to speed and just get the discussion started, then all of a sudden the time is up. Also, when you go under critique, have a plan. And the plan doesn't have to just simply have been decided upon based on the show your kids had that day. There could be just a simple section of your program that you've had lots of concerns about, or you've been fighting with, or you've been rewriting and changing and just haven't found the right answer to yet. And listening to what the judge gave you feedback on that section of the show, and then going into critique, knowing early in the week, we're going to talk to the judge about this. We're going to see what they say about these 32 counts or whatever. And then we're going to make sure we talk to them about that. Having that plan gives you a chance to get a lot out of critique as well, because you know where your show is at. You might know that the judge is going to have a negative reaction to the certain flag grades because the kids aren't getting it yet or something to that effect. So if you go in with the plan already in place, we know where we're at. We know what we got to work on, but we also know this is a section of our show we can really use some additional feedback on. Take advantage of it, work on it that way. The other thing I want to bring up is think about where the judge is coming. They're coming from a position of honesty, and they're coming from a position of giving you their best effort, giving you their best read on what your program was. A lot of times the dialogue tends to turn adversarial, where the judge is questioned, and while I get that you can maybe question and encourage the judge to see more of the range of your program that maybe wasn't rewarded or something to that effect. If that dialogue turns adversarial, it's not going to produce the results down the road that you want. If you know this is a judge that you're going to see again in the circuit championships or in Dayton or whatever, simply explaining to them where you think there is more credit to be given is a great benefit of going to critique. Making that an adversarial dialogue where the integrity of the judge starts to get questioned turns that into a situation where your point's going to get lost in kind of the battle, the word battle over whether the judge did a good job or not. There's a time and a place to let administrators know if the judge did a good job or not. There's feedback forms you guys can send to me within the circuit all the time. So really sitting there and critique and nailing the judge because you thought they didn't judge the entire range of the caption at that particular moment is probably not the best use of your critique, because you can take care of the feedback on the judge down the road, or Monday morning when you send in a comment form. So allow that dialogue to be positive without becoming adversarial. That doesn't mean you can't discuss scores. That's a big misnomer. Oh, we don't want to talk scores and critique. Yeah, if you want to talk scores and critique, talk scores and critique. If you think you should be a 75 and you got a 70, talk about why you think it should be. It just doesn't have to be an adversarial discussion. Talk about your spread. If there's a competitor above you that you think the spread is too wide, try to get feedback from the judge on why they made the decision to create that spread. Judges are accountable for that spread, so you have a right to ask them and have them explain themselves more thoroughly than they can do on a commentary file why they put that spread in place. If the judges come from somewhere else in the country, while it's difficult to ask them to compare you to someone maybe they saw 3 or 4 weeks ago, a specific team, you definitely can ask them, where do you think we stand nationally? Where do you think we are? Do you think we're on the right track? Now, the answer is going to be probably a lot less specific than you want it to be, because they're not going to be able to go on record and say, well, I think you're the 12th best team in the country. I mean, that's something that's not decided until all the teams are together. But you can definitely get feedback, whether that feedback can be positive, whether listen, you're on the right track, I think you're in the neighborhood, I think you're approaching the neighborhood, or some type of kind of general reassurance from you that you are on the way to where you want to be. So let's really work as a circuit to use these critiques this season to really benefit the kids more than anything. Let's make the dialogue professional. Let's make the dialogue thorough. Let's make the dialogue a prepared discussion where you've come in there having already listened to files and ready to kind of engage, and you start the discussion. And don't think that just because maybe this is your first or second year as a guard instructor that you are not allowed to lead the discussion with the judge. Yes, you can. Those are your kids. You're their advocate. Stand up for them by trying to get as much feedback as you can on your show so you can go back into rehearsal and make the show even better. All right, guys. Looking forward to a great season in 2018. Good luck, everybody.